Hello again, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle from A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. And if you're not already familiar with us, this is the program where we talk real talk about things that are steamy. So, steamy in education, employment, social service, mental health, physical health, all things that are steamy. We are a tutoring company, so we can't talk about everything, but we do talk a lot. We do talk about a lot here, and we do cover a lot of ground. So today, I'm very excited about this topic. Our hot topic today is: should I get into real estate? And I wanted to have this topic because it seems to be um, kind of the a hot button question. And I know with everything going on with the pandemic, everyone's trying to look for um, some kind of hustle, I guess, or a little side job. So I wanted to have this topic on my show, and I have someone who I can have this conversation with. Her name is Laquetta Kearns, and I'm going to tell you about her. Laquetta began her real estate career 7 years ago, first starting part time to make some extra money on the side. But after being in the business for some time, she realized that it was something she was really passionate about and wanted to build a career instead of working it as a side hustle. Her extensive work history in sales and customer service has definitely helped shape the experience she is able to provide to her clients. So I'm going to bring her to the stage right now. Oh, I forgot my little banner, who is Laquetta Kearns. So I'm adding it there. All right, so I'm going to bring her to the stage. And Laquetta, thank you for coming on the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me. I am doing well. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. Awesome. 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 All right. So let's get right into it.
Yes.
So I really wanted to talk to you about this. Can you tell us more about working in real estate and what's it like being a real estate agent and all that good stuff?
So I know that's one thing you always hear that, right? You always hear people say, "Oh, how's the market? How's the market?" And I really believe the only people that will probably tell you not to get in real estate are people who maybe just tried it. But it's the same thing, like I said, when I got in, when I first began 7 years ago, I even tell people sometimes I was seasonal. I had another job. So I kind of would just go do like literally one deal and disappear for a few months. And that was the pattern for probably about the first 3 years of my me being in real estate. And then from there I just kind of decided, like, you know what, let me really buckle down and really do it. But even when I said I was going to buckle down, it still took me a little while to do it. So definitely you definitely have to have some type of mental capacity for it. Because even when I said I was going to go full time, it did take me a little while. I actually went full time, I would say the end of 2019. And that was the first time that I said, you know what, let me like really, I know I said I was going to get serious before, but let me really, really get serious and really see what I can do in the business, because I see people around me, right? The company that I'm with, we have a whole lot of like top producers, and we call them mega agents. I mean, literally, these people make 200, $300,000 every quarter, you know? So I said, there are so many people around me that's really successful in a business. So let me just take it really serious, give it my all, and really see what I can do. So back in 2019, about July, I really got serious with it. And then from there, I just seen my business take off once I really decided. So that's why I said only people that maybe really didn't give it 100% would probably tell you not to get into real estate.
Hmm. So can you can you take us through the steps? So I want to become a real estate agent. What's the first thing that I do?
So the very first thing that you do is you have to take your 75-hour New York 75-hour pre-licensing, almost like a tongue twister course. Um, so every state is different, has different requirements, different hours, but in New York particularly, it's 75 hours. Once you do that, you can actually, I think the first two steps are kind of interchangeable because some people actually have a brokerage that they have in mind that they're thinking about working with once they finish, and some people actually take the course first. But I would say for most people, you find a course, you take the 75-hour pre-licensing course, you take that school exam. Once you pass the school exam and you have your hours, you then go and take the state exam. And then from there, before the state releases your license to you, you have to be associated with a broker because the broker is going to then sponsor you in your license. So the first step, take the course, pass the school exam, pass the state exam, join a company.
Okay. Okay. So I just want to make clear that's what the requirements are for New York. It's I'm assuming it's different in every state.
Yes, those are exactly the New York steps.
Got you, got you. So talk about the stability of working in real estate. Can you go into a little bit more about that, about the financial stability, the hours, all that good stuff?
The stability. Wow, that part, right? Um, there is really no stability in real estate, right? But it's like the saying goes, high risk equals high reward, right? So there is, like I said, there isn't stability for the simple fact that we do work on commission. You have to actually work to get a check. It's not like you go into your normal 9 to 5 job and maybe you're hiding from your customers. I mean, we've all done it, right? I've worked in customer service. You go take an extra break or you take a long break, you go to the bathroom. So with that being said, real estate, there really isn't any stability. That's why it's super important for you to actually come in, create a schedule. People come in with the idea of having this time flexibility, and it is a such thing, but you actually have to create your balance and make a schedule that's going to then work for you, right? So I hope I answered the question. There is really no stability, but the stability will really be in yourself, because as long as you're doing the items and the tasks that your real estate job description entails, then of course you'll have the clients to work with, you'll have the buyers to help buy homes, you'll have the sellers that are selling houses, renters, etc. So your stability really is going to depend on you coming in, your discipline, and your focus. And again, your work schedule. People do come in part-time and that has really like demanding full-time jobs, but I always tell people there is flexibility in real estate. You just have to work towards the flexibility as far as your time goes. So you come in and you put the work in today, and then you'll see that starting to pay off, in a few months or a year from today. But that's why I said there is no reward without risk.
Mm. So it's so I get the sense that it's not a typical 9 to 5 job, right? It's get more like getting gigs or booking appointments. Is that safe to say?
That's exactly what it is, booking appointments. But that's why I said, if you come in and you build a strong foundation from the beginning, and you get clear on what your job, even saying that, right? Most people don't even think, when you hear real estate agent, you probably wouldn't think we actually had a job description, but we actually have a job description. So like there are certain tasks that we should be doing every day to ensure that we are constantly meeting people, talking to people, assessing their needs, and being able to help them with everything that they need in the real estate business, or their real estate needs to say. And you do have to book appointments. And the thing about your appointments are, most of the time, you're not the only person going for the job. So that's exactly what it is, booking your appointment, kind of like a gig. You have to interview to build that rapport and that connection with your potential client to actually get the job.
You mentioned before about the tasks. Can you talk more about the tasks? What are those tasks specifically?
So we call them our money making activities. We have a whole lot of there's a whole lot of things that we do. And I know a lot of people probably think when they think about it, like, oh, realtors don't do anything. Oh my gosh, I had to take a nap today. Okay, my last 2 days just this week alone has been like literally jam packed. So our top 5 money making activities, which is our job description, is to lead generate, right, which is really building relationships. Again, that's you talking to people, whether you're on the phone with them or you're getting out in front of them. Lead follow up. So not all the time the people that you're calling, not all the time they're ready right now, but that doesn't mean that you throw people away. Oh, I'm not going to be ready until next year to buy a house. That doesn't mean I just forget about you. I have to now, create this follow-up system to when I am consistently and systematically following up with you. So now when you are ready, either you will remember me because I've already built that connection with you and I've followed up with you so much, or on the next time around, when it's time for me to actually reach out to you, you're ready and I catch you when you're ready. So again, number 1 is to lead generate. Number 2 is to lead follow up. 3 is to go on appointments. 4 is to negotiate contracts. And 5 is actually we have, there's certain things, again, that you have to say in order to articulate what it is that you do. So we actually basically study what it is that we're supposed to be doing, so that this way, when we're talking to people, we're better able to articulate what services we provide.
Okay. So generally, you help people look for homes or apartments. Is that the general idea of what you do?
Yes. So we help people buy homes. We help them sell homes. We help them rent apartments, and also with their real estate investments.
And then what about people with like poor credit or okay credit? What do you do for people looking for a mortgage, for example?
I'm gonna say some of us, right? I'm not gonna say, I can't speak for everyone, but the way I create my business, right? So as a realtor, we work in a brokerage, but there are like however many real estate agents are in that brokerage, we have our own business inside of this one business entity. So the way I run my business is I am a one-stop shop, right? So of course I don't give mortgages, but I have a lot of great lenders that I've built business relationships with. So now when my clients need things like a pre-approval, some of my lenders actually help with credit repair if one of my clients would need credit repair. And I also have credit specialists outside of my company or outside of these lending and mortgage companies, credit repair specialists that will also help in a case like that.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So, what do I want to ask? So, I'm assuming you get the most common question is, how's the real estate now? With the pandemic, how's the market? With the pandemic. So, if you're comfortable talking about that, how is the housing market since the pandemic began?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. Okay. So, yeah, people always ask that even before the pandemic. But if you remember what I said, I've been in real estate since 2014. I decided to go full time July. Well, I actually had already decided to go full time, but I actually sat down to now take the appropriate steps and measures to be full time July 2019. So all the work I put in before that time, and then when I really got focused about July, August of 2019, when the pandemic happened in 2020, and I would be like, I in this case, I'm speaking for myself, but I'm also speaking for a lot of other agents that I actually know. When I say 2020 was my best year thus far, okay, it was my best year, and all throughout again, I'm only going to speak for like the people that I know that I work with, and I hear different stories. 2020 was actually a really great year for a lot of real estate agents. So I mean, what changed? Maybe it was how it was more of a challenge. So it's kind of one of those things, like what they say, within the first 2 years, right? In real estate, after someone gets their license, the actual drop off rate is really high. Like, people usually don't succeed in real estate. And like I said, because we have in my company, we have a bold law. It used to be real estate is simple, not easy. So they kind of like interchange it between real estate is simple, not easy, and success is simple, not easy. So real estate is a really simple thing. Like, talking to people, that's a simple thing for some people. Going on appointments, that's a simple thing, but it's not easy. With that time flexibility, because you do create your own schedule. Sometimes when you have the ability to create your own schedule and work on your own time, it can actually work against you if you're not disciplined enough and focused. But again, 2020 was a really successful year for a lot of people. What happened in the market pretty much was that the interest rates were extremely low. They were like super, super duper low. So with the interest rates being low, we now have a surplus of buyers that are able to actually afford a mortgage. Now they're getting this pre-approval to purchase these home loans, and supply and demand, it always happens. So as we were seeing a surplus of buyers in the market, a lot of sellers decided to come off the market, whether they had the home on the market and then it expired, or so we had it was a shift between having inventory homes for buyers to purchase and having these buyers with all these pre-approvals. So the market just really shot up. We were still in a seller's market. They're predicting that it's going to come down soon, but we've been in a seller's market for the last few years. However, last year, the prices on these homes just really skyrocketed. So again, 2020 was a lot of real estate agents' best year. Go figure.
I imagine so, because the interest rates are lower, more people are buying, so I'm sure that's great business for you.
Yes, absolutely. Now the only thing, the trick about it was finding now these sellers that still have a need to sell and then are willing to sell. Even during the pandemic, we had to shift the way we did business. And I really think that's what probably made people more successful, is the fact that now it's not easy, right? We said it's simple, not easy. With the pandemic, business got just that much harder, because now everything that you come to know, you have to relearn or learn a different system. When we say the market has trends, so when it's a seller's market, of course, there's more buyers and less sellers. If you want to be a selling agent or work on the selling side, you now have to go extra hard to find these seller clients. Even people that were on the market before, with the pandemic, they felt uncomfortable selling. So, you had to basically just give them some knowledge on there is an actual way to sell your home safely. So we shifted into that. So now it's not all just, okay, everybody's going to flood the home. We actually had to do showings online for a small period of time, where we just actually did like a web tour pretty much. And then if the buyer was interested and serious and had everything in order, we would allow them to go and see the property, of course, with gloves and masks and things like that. So yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the process of selling the home. So I have a home, I'm ready to sell. I go to you, Laquetta, I want to sell my home. What do I do?
Okay, so we'll discuss all of those things in our appointment. And usually you really want to get in front of people. This way you have an opportunity. Again, I don't know if you guys know, in New York alone, I think if I'm not mistaken, between 20 to 40,000 real estate agents. This is just in New York. Okay. And we only have 5 boroughs in New York. So go figure. So you want to get in front of people, like I said, to build a rapport, make the connection, because honestly, even when you are looking to get more business, everybody is not a great match, right? Like, that's the beauty of working in real estate. And I'm not saying it on in a way to discriminate, right? It's just everyone's personalities does not always work well together. So you get to choose who you work with. If someone is too, maybe you feel like they're mean or they're rude, things like that, you don't have to work with that person, you know? So again, you want to get in front of people just to build that rapport, make sure it will actually be a good fit. Um, Before the appointment, I have to do all of the preparation again to make you a knowledgeable seller. You definitely want to have the information that you need to make an informed decision when selling a house. So me preparing that, now I'm going to actually, pull up some public records, check to see if you have any liens on your property. A lien is just maybe like someone saying that you owe money. It could be a mortgage lien. It can be a mechanic's lien. Maybe someone did some work in your house, and they're saying you didn't pay them, because these liens would actually stop the sale of your home. So there's a lot of research on my part that I have to do to now bring it to the seller's attention. Also checking home prices. We want to see what sold in your area within the last 3 months. That we call it a CMA, which is a comparative market analysis. And what that does is it takes homes that are similar to your house in size, location, and features like bedrooms, bathrooms, if there's a driveway or a garage, things like that. And we compare it to see what happened within these last 3 months, right? Because that's how we actually get our pricing, by looking at other homes that sold that are similar to yours, to say, okay, well, you don't have a dated house that needs work, but you don't have a completely new house that just has been renovated. You're somewhere in the middle. So we're looking now at the prices of the homes that are like your house as far as the condition, to see where the price is. So really and truly, it really is like a whole bunch of research that we do on our end of it, just to make the seller informed. Because sometimes there's things going on that you'll be surprised, but people don't know even about their own property.
Mm, interesting. Interesting indeed. All right. So let's talk about the pursuit of real estate in general. Do you think because of the pandemic, more people are applying to be a real estate agent? Do you think that's decreased or stayed about the same?
I definitely think it increased. And part of the reason why it increased is because even for myself, before I got into real estate, I actually contemplated it for years. Like I think it took me about 6 years before I really was like, you know what, let me just do this. I had another job. Um, well, when I first was getting in, well, when I first thought about it, I wasn't working. So then it was kind of a little nerve-wracking to say, okay, to get a job that the paycheck is not stable, it kind of scared me, right? But what happened last year is that a lot of people got laid off. A lot of people lost their jobs. Like there were a lot of different things going on in the employment market, where people found themselves at the mercy of their employers, right? So now people are not working. And I think it just kind of opened up people's eyes, because the good thing, right, is a double-edged sword. You can work it to your benefit, or you can have it work against you, like I mentioned with the schedule. So people realized that there was an opportunity in working for yourself and creating your own income, and just what you say happens in your business and for your family. And some people really kind of, I don't want to say didn't have a choice, but even when things were getting shut down, we were slightly shut down. So we would just transition from working in the office, if you worked in the office, to working from home. There's a lot of agents that already just mainly work from home. So people just saw it as an opportunity, especially because their job, which was supposed to be, and even in some cases supposed to be secure and supposed to be stable, last year proved that that wasn't necessarily the case. So a lot of people actually did get into real estate, and it actually worked out in their favor.
Do you think do you think real estate is something that someone can stay in long term, 10, 15, 20 years?
Gabrielle, when I tell you, I've gone to some real estate conventions, not just within my company, because my company does hold a lot of different big training events every year. But in within my company, and even on going to other real estate events, right? When I tell you, people like they are in this business for decades. I think the oldest realtor I saw was probably about 70 years old. And it's not because they have to work. If you're succeeding in the real estate business, you're successful in it, it really is especially depending on where you are. I've been at other real estate companies. This is not my first company that I'm with, but it definitely helps to be in a place that has great training, amazing energy, great people. And you find it really rewarding. You're helping people, you're having fun, you're kind of creating your own schedule, you have your own flow. So people will be in this business for years. I think the oldest realtor I've met probably was like 70 years old. And again, not because they had to, but because they really just loved what they did. So yeah, it definitely, as long as you work it right and you get the great training from the beginning and you're able to build a strong, steady foundation, it definitely is a career that people can be in for years.
Awesome. So let's talk about the money part, if you're comfortable with that. Because I'm sure people want to know, like, how much can I get paid doing this? If it's by appointments or gigs, how much can I collect per gig? So, if you're comfortable talking about it, can you talk about the commission? How much commission do you get? I'm sure it also depends on the neighborhood and the house, and the higher income neighborhoods, you may get a higher commission. So if you're comfortable, if you could talk more about that.
Yes, absolutely. So the commission is definitely, there's not a, I want to say there's not a set commission, because especially because I probably would get in trouble if I said something else. That competing, that whole competing thing, you got to make it that people are able to get different pricing. But commission is definitely negotiable. So it really is what you and your client agree upon. And again, as long as you know what you're doing and you know the value that you bring to the table, and because I'm going to say it, not all real estate agents are created equal. And I don't mean in like, I mean in the things that they're doing. Remember, I said there's a job description. A lot of agents, depending on where they work, some places they don't really train. So there's not great training. And I'm speaking from experience. I was at 3 companies previous to the company that I'm with now, and the one in the middle was, I had a great start. I started off with rentals. I learned everything on the rental side, residential rentals and commercial rentals alike. But the very first one that I was with, and then the third one that I was with, it was, first one was like nothing at all. Like, we had training days. I was the only one that showed up, so they didn't train me. Go figure. And then the third one was somewhere, they were trying to get it together, but they really didn't have it all together. So, I just lost my thought. Can you ask me that again? I told you I had to take a nap today. I had a long day.
Well,
Commission, right?
yes.
Got it. I'm sorry. So, all right, it is negotiable. It really is what you and your prospective client or potential client agree upon. And I believe as long as you are fully able to articulate the value that you bring forth, whether you're working with a buyer or a seller, it's easier for them to understand why you are looking to charge the commission that you're charging. So it is negotiable. And I would say on average, there are different variables. Of course, the commission you guys agree upon, of course, the price of the house, things like that. But on average, I would say a commission check can be anywhere between $8,000 to $10,000.
And
That's on the low end.
that's on the low end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like 30% or 40% or any kind of percentage.
We do get percentages. When we are talking about commission with our clients, we do charge on a percentage basis. But again, it really just depends on what you guys agree upon.
Meaning you and the client, what you agree upon with them.
Yes, what you and the client agree upon. And it's normally for residential, it's like on a, I'm gonna say a low end, because it's, you're not really passing like 10%, you know, you're not getting up to 9%. But think about it, these, we're in New York, right? Home prices, what's the least amount you're gonna buy a house for is probably about 450, and that's even in Long Island. Like, these prices are up there. So if you're doing 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%, whatever percentage, that's how you are still able to get these commission checks. That's why I said on average minimum is 8 to 10,000. That's on average the minimum.
Ah, all right. Okay. So, what advice would you give for people who want to pursue real estate? You know, should what if I wanted to get into real estate? Should I shut everything down, shut this company down, and jump straight into it?
Honestly, I would say I would say you definitely want to have you some a bit of a savings just to cushion you. And a lot of people get into real estate and they don't just quit what they're doing right now, but they have a plan that they have in place that they feel like is going to, whether it's a 6 month plan or a year plan, I'm going to work here just to pay the bills and really focus. So it really just depends on the person. I'm a coach now, and even with the clients that I get coming into real estate, my coaching clients, everybody's temperament and drive are different. So if you're just a go-getter, you're just someone who you say, okay, I'm going to do this, and you know, you mean business, nothing's going to stop you. Yeah, why not? Absolutely. You know, I'm not saying, but I am saying you're still going to need something to hold you, to help you with the bills, because on average coming in, if you do what we're telling you to do from the beginning, you definitely can jumpstart your career. So now something that might have taken 6 months on your own or something like that, you can see a commission check, you can see some business before that time frame. But it really depends on the person, the type of attitude they have, how focused and disciplined they are or could be.
Awesome. So you have your own business, right? You don't work for a company?
I work with a company because I'm sponsored by my company, but again, I have my business inside of my company. We're all independent contractors, right? So if you actually look on my Instagram and on my Facebook, you see Queen of the House. That's my, like, my logo. That's kind of what I, have my business under, etc. So we have our businesses operating within the company, the whole company. And everybody, not everyone, but a lot of people, they create teams. You'll see like the John Doe team and this and Jane Doe team. So everybody has their teams, and their team is actually their own business. So literally, if everybody wanted to pursue I'm an individual agent right now, but everybody mostly starts out as individual agents. Remember, I mentioned our like mega agents and things like that. So when you're a mega agent and you're closing on 400 homes a year, of course you're going to have a team behind you. So that is their team, their business operating within the company. And it's the same thing whether you have a team of 10 or you're just a solo agent. We're still operating our own business within the brokerage that is sponsoring us.
When you say brokerage, what is that?
The brokerage and company are the same thing. So, you have business companies, real estate companies are called brokerages. That's the brokerage. The broker is usually the person that like heads the brokerage, right? They're responsible for the agents, things like that. So the brokerage is the real estate company.
Oh, okay. So we talked a lot about the housing market. You also do apartments. Can you talk about the apartment market, how that has been affected since the pandemic began?
Honestly, I feel like the housing market has already been affected. Like New York has one of the highest rents and out of all the states. Our rent is really high in New York. So I don't really, in my opinion, I don't really feel like it affected the rental market as much because our rents are already high.
I mean, are there more people looking for apartments, less people looking for apartments?
Um, and this is actually why I always tell people when people say, "Oh, how's the market?" Or you have some people who think they know what's going on in the market. "Oh, this is not a great time. Oh, it's the winter time. It's cold. This is not a great time." That's not true. People have leases. And if you rented your apartment last November before Thanksgiving and you had a year lease, guess what happens before this Thanksgiving? Your lease is up. So it's really that's why I say real estate is really a great market to get into, a great field to get into, because as long as you know the proper way to do things and you're trained well, you'll always have business. You won't have the only time you really have a dry month is if you decided not to work in general. So even for our rental market, it's always moving. People leases are up. People move into the state. People move out of the state. So it's a consistent thing. The New York rental market. It kind of always moves. Now the only difference with last year, since COVID started, is you see a lot of, and I'm not gonna say a lot because honestly I don't know the number. I've just heard some stories of like tenants not paying rent completely from the owner, the landlord side of it, because they put the executive order in place, which now said that if somebody happened to not pay their rent because of the city being shut down and people losing their jobs, and they put the state of emergency into effect, which now says that people are not able to evict, you had a change in the rental market in that case, because now if someone actually lost their job and their lease is up, chances are they're probably not going to move. They don't now have the income to provide that they had a job, they have a way to pay for the apartment, so they'll probably just stay where they are. But again, that is not everybody's situation. Real estate is not like a one size fits all. Like literally everybody has different events going on in different circumstances, which I believe that's why the market is so consistent, because everybody's situations are different.
Hmm. Okay. So would you so if someone asks you like is now the time to buy a house, is now the time to move out of my apartment into the next apartment, what would you tell them?
Are you ready? That's what I would say. There's never like a perfect or best time, right? Because we see even well, actually from last year, 2020, winter time, until 2020, before the spring, our prices were even up from then, right? So it's really not a thing of like when's the best time, because remember, where real estate really follows the whole economic system, as far as supply and demand. Okay, so housing prices are high right now, but what does that mean for the interest rates? The interest rates are like super low. We've seen record lows during this pandemic. So now you might buy a house at a higher price, but if your interest rate is pretty low, that means you're paying less money, right? Paying less monthly payments, or less interest that you have to now come up with every month. Whereas when the housing prices are lower, when it's a buyer's market, and now there are more homes on the market than there are buyers looking for homes, the prices are low, but the interest rates are like super high, like 6%, 7%, 8%. That's high for an interest rate when we've seen interest rates as low as 1.75 or 2.25. That's a two, even a 250, right? 2.5 interest rate is different than a 8% interest rate. So that's why it's never like I don't ever tell someone, oh, now is the perfect time. I'll just tell you what the conditions of the market are. So if you favor a lower interest rate, then now is the time for you. If you favor a lower price and you really don't care what interest rate it is, then of course you will wait for the market to come down. So it really is a thing about when you're ready, and when you're ready. When's the best time is when someone is actually ready to buy. And as long as they have all their financials in order, as far as like their income, their credit, etc.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's talk race. um, so, do you notice any racial disparities in terms of people looking for homes, or do you find yourself you tend to work with one type of ethnicity versus another type of ethnic, and different types of ethnicities? I mean, do you find any differences among that?
I would say, of course, I can't, again, I don't know everyone, right? So I don't know as far as what a client would prefer, right? But on my side of it, I have areas that I mostly focus in, right? So I'll work anywhere. Like I'll work mostly anywhere in Queens, but I have my main Queens areas that I work in. I'll work anywhere in Nassau, but I have my main Nassau areas that I work in. So whatever the demographics are in that area, that's just who I'm servicing, right? And like I said, a lot of times you won't necessarily know someone is, as far as like if you want to say somebody is racist or someone discriminates, because you probably just won't. If they don't like you, right, you can call them up and they'll just tell you they're not interested, but that doesn't mean that they're going to say I'm not interested because you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. So I'm not going to say it doesn't exist, because I'm sure it exists. I know it exists, right? They did this big thing. I think it was like last year when they started really trying to crack down in the real estate industry as a whole, not just with on the agent side of it, but maybe some lenders, whatever things that they put in place, like you can't, no redlining, no staring, etc. But in my experience, I haven't had anyone say, no, I'm not going to do business with you because you're a Black girl, kind of thing, which I'm sure there are some people that would probably love to say that. But again, you probably won't run into them like me trying to get somebody's business. What's the chances I'm going to run into them? Most of the time I'm calling people to set appointments. So like I said, if they feel like they don't want to work with me because of like, maybe the way I sound or my voice, they're not saying that. They're just not going to give you the appointment.
Mm. Okay. But then what I mean is like there seems to be this push for black home ownership, right? More black people owning homes, because there was that racial disparity in terms of black people owning their own home. So I'm wondering if you have seen a shift in that, based on your clientele, maybe the clientele of your colleagues, what people have told you, if there seems to be a shift in more black people owning a home.
Yes, I would definitely say on that side of it, yes, there is a shift with Black people looking to own more homes. And really, it's really all about education, right? So I had someone say to me recently, like, I'm pushing for them to purchase a home. And they said they never really thought of themselves owning a home. So a lot of times the disparity comes in just the information, right? And not all the time the information is readily available to us, like Black people. Um, but it's just one of those things where like you kind of have to seek out your own information, because if the information is not given and you never ask any questions, then of course you won't have any answers to, even if it's just a concern or even a thought in your mind. So now with just the whole idea of, with the pandemic, there was a lot of racial things going on just in the world in general. So you see this big, massive push of Black Lives Matter, and you see this big, massive push of support Black businesses. With that, again, it comes education. So with all of these, movements, let's just call them, with you just seeing different things and education. Now people knowing, like, I have to look for the information sometimes, right? And with the people who don't look for the information, is how do you figure out a way to give them the information? So absolutely, there has been a shift, and more people even looking to see the possibilities of owning a home. Because again, what we say, real estate is important because it creates generational wealth. It's not just wealth for you. You can literally leave a house for your great grandchildren, right? You can leave the house for your grandchildren. So real estate creates generational wealth, and more people, I guess, are really starting to have that understanding that it's not just about buying a house. It's actually setting something up to create this wealth that may have not been readily available for me, right? So now when you have children, you're thinking about it like from that perspective. Well, what am I going to leave my kids? Remember, when you purchase a house, most of the time houses appreciate if you purchase in the right area. Like New York is one of the best places to actually buy, because over time our prices increase or they stay the same. New York is not an area where you'll find housing prices depreciating at a crazy time. Like the only real depreciation we're going to see right now, we're in a seller's market. So houses have been selling over market value. Now, when the prices come down, it's just the market correcting itself. It's not going to be like the market corrected itself and now the homes are $200,000 less than what they were. So definitely, people just coming into their own in a sense and really trying to get an understanding and finding a place in the world and learn things that they didn't learn, or maybe their parents didn't learn. So it's really been a massive shift with that. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. All right, we are starting to come down a little bit. So I know I asked you this earlier, but do you have any final words of advice for the people watching right now? Maybe someone wants to get into real estate, or maybe someone is in real estate and they're struggling to find clients. What advice would you give to those people?
Well, Gabrielle, I'm so glad you asked. Okay. My advice would be just do it, right? And I mean, just do it in every sense, whatever you were thinking regarding real estate in general. If you were thinking of purchasing a home and maybe this is your first home, just do it. Figure out who it is that you need to connect with that is now going to walk you through the process and let you know what all of the steps are for buying your home. Right? You might not be ready right now, but if you literally have someone to sit down with you and kind of create this roadmap for you, okay, where you would like your credit to be, what's on your credit now, what you have to work on to get your credit score to be where it needs to be, how much money you need to have saved. Okay, maybe you have a job and maybe the income is not enough. Okay, so maybe you need to get a job that's going to pay you a higher income, or maybe you have to get a second job. Like, so on the sense of purchasing, just do it. Make the connection with whoever you need to make the connection with, preferably me, right? uh, to lay out this roadmap for you to start on your path to home ownership. Anyone thinking about getting in the real estate industry, maybe you're not in the real estate industry and you are just thinking about it. Remember, I said it took me about 6 years to start. I thought about it and then I was like, I actually thought about it coming out of high school. That was the very first time I was like, you know what, maybe I should get into real estate. And then I said, oh no, let me just go to school, because that's what you hear. Go to school, get a stable job, get a steady income. Real estate, if you're not setting your business up right and you're not really working on your business, it can just be a job, right? So definitely it took me about 6 years to start, and I would almost want to say I wish I started sooner, but I understand that my path, the path that I've taken, basically just adds to my journey. Like, I had to go through the things that I went through. I had to take as much time to actually get into real estate. I had to take the time. Not that I had to take the time, but that's just how my story is unfolding. And, I'm grateful for that, because now with the experience that I have, or the experience that I didn't receive first, right? Now I'm able to help people and help them, actually really get their business started from the beginning instead of taking the time out too. So if you're thinking about getting into the real estate market, just do it. Again, it's all about that connection and making sure you find the information that you need to find to make a really good informed decision. Interview with a few brokerages, and just do it. Real estate is an awesome industry. I will say, I can't even really say it isn't for everybody, but you really probably wouldn't know if it's for you or not, because there are different aspects of real estate that you can get into. For those people who are already in real estate and you might be on your last leg of your real estate business, I would definitely suggest you switching brokerages. Really and truly, that's really all that it boils down to. Maybe you're not getting the training that you need, the guidance, the support. It's not something I feel like you should quit. I feel like it's something that you should just make adjustments to make sure you are connected with the right company, the right people, you have the right training and the right support. So just do it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for that advice. And you guys, oh wait, let me get your little banner up, Laquetta. All right. So if you didn't figure it out by now, Laquetta is a real estate agent. She has she works with a company, and no, you have your own business.
Inside of the company, yeah.
Inside of the company, yeah. So she has her own business, and she has a coaching program called the Legendary Academy. She helps people with their real estate needs and goals. When they want to buy, sell, rent, or invest, she's the one who uses her skills, expertise, and knowledge to help them make better informed decisions. Her main area is Southeast Queens and the Rockaways. So, for those of you in the New York City area, she's your girl. But she also works in Brooklyn and Nassau as well. And well, yes, if her clients are looking in an area that she's not too knowledgeable on or she doesn't service. So, for those of you watching right now and you're not in the New York City area, she got connections. So, she can connect you with other real estate agents in any area in the country. So if you happen to be watching and you're not in New York, she has partners that she works with that she can connect you to. And if you happen to be in the New York City and Long Island area, Laquetta is your girl. And she also has a video that talks a little bit more about her services. I'm going to show you the video right now.
Hi, Q here with Keller Williams Legendary. I put together this video to introduce myself and to thank you for the potential of helping you with all of your real estate needs. Down below, you'll find all of my information. Our next step will be to set up a strategic meeting, which we can do either over the phone, in person, or via Zoom. I will reach out shortly to set that up. Until then, take care. Thank you.
That was an amazing video. And if you want to learn more about real estate, if you want to get into real estate, if you have property that you want to sell, or you just want to learn more about Laquetta services, you could find her online. Her website is laquettakearns.kw.com. And she is also on social media. She is on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So definitely follow her, reach out to her if you want to get into real estate, if you want to be a buyer or a seller, or if you want to get into the position for it, definitely reach out to Laquetta. And Laquetta, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate the time that you took to be with me today.
Thank you for having me. This was amazing.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to put you backstage, and it's just you and me, guys. And that concludes our episode for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Please check out our YouTube channel for more videos and clips. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought about this episode today. You can also find us on, oh, I forgot my banner. I am so sorry. Hold on. Let me just get my banner. You can also find us online at www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. So if you want to learn more about A Step Ahead Tutoring Services, learn about our services, our workshops, or anything else that we have to offer, please visit our website. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Eventbrite, and WhatsApp. So please follow us on social media. We definitely will appreciate the support. And one last thing before I go, we are seeking financial contributions to our crowdfunding campaign on ifundwomen.com. I have a little video presentation that will explain more, so please watch.
Hey there, have you heard of us? We're a small team of tutors here at A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. We believe that education and information should be accessible to everyone, regardless of income, race, or creed. We're dedicated to making this happen, but we need your help. Please consider donating to our crowdfunding campaign. No amount is too small. Your donation will allow us tutors to remain employed, offer free and low-cost services, and reach out to families nationwide. With your help, we can tackle the academic challenges of our students and the emotional, mental, and behavioral changes that result from these challenges. As a bonus, we can improve our communities in the process. Support us today. We're a for-profit company. Your donation may not be tax deductible. Please consult a tax professional.
And that is it for our episode. Please tune in next time. I look forward to seeing you. Thank you for joining us.